Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. What Senate Bill 2191 proposes to do is to modify the language regarding the use of use tax funds by municipalities. When the legislation was originally passed, it allowed those use tax monies to only be spent for the repair, construction, and building of roads and bridges. And last year in House Bill 1, that section of the code was amended to allow use tax monies to be spent for the construction, rehabilitation, and acquisition of buildings. So the first proposed change is found at line 17 and 18. This comes at the request of the Mississippi Municipal League that they would like the use tax dollars to be spent for repair, maintenance, and reconstruction of sidewalks. So sidewalks has been added at line 18. And then over at lines 32 through 35, this is cleanup language because the bill, the code section still had restrictive language that limited the use of use tax monies for construction, maintenance of public buildings or structures that are not integral to the system of roads and bridges. So the purpose of the bill is to, one, allow use tax dollars to be expended for sidewalks, and to two, delete the language that still restricted use tax monies for roads and bridges. I'll yield for questions.
All right. Are there any questions on the bill? Seeing none. Senator Sparks for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator, this, of course, coming from the Municipal League, I assume the language is restricted to buildings owned by the unit of government, that it would be obviously sidewalks that are city property or buildings that are owned by the unit of government using the use tax.
That's correct, but the language also allows the municipality to acquire buildings too. So I'm not sure.
It would be their building, I guess.
Yes, it would.
I guess that's fine. I just want to make sure we're limited to publicly owned properties by that unit of government.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any further questions on the bill? Seeing none for a motion. Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. That bill will be reported out. Next bill is Senate Bill number 2257. I'll recognize Senator Hickman to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill comes to us from the Mississippi Housing Authority Risk Management. Basically what this bill does is for municipalities and counties that create housing authorities, we have a fund that they can pool together for insurance, lowers the cost of insurance for everyone in the pool, and allows them to provide low-income housing. Historically, most, if not all, of their funding has come from HUD. However, with recent changes in administrations, HUD has severely shrink their funds and is asking them to rely on low income tax credit, kind of like the new market tax credit. And so in order to take advantage of that, they have to partner with a private entity and create basically a pseudo entity to receive these tax credits. Once they do this, under current law, they are then pulled out of the insurance pool because they are no longer the same entity that was created there. So this bill just allows these entities that are a partnership between the housing authority and the private entity to receive these tax rebates. It allows them, kind of like the new market tax credit, to get in the pool and receive that insurance. The difficulty is if we don't do this, it raises the cost for everybody, and most of our low-income housing providers will be pulled out of the insurance pool, and it'll be of no effect. So this simply allows those entities that are now receiving their funds a different way to receive insurance from this pool. And that's a brief explanation of the bill. I'll answer any questions that are necessary.
All right. Are there any questions from the committee? Seeing none, for a motion. Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. That bill will be reported out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Thank you, Senator. Next on the agenda is Senate Bill number 2679. I recognize Senator McMahon to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill has been brought to us by Senator Johnson, and it's endorsed by the Municipal League. What this bill does, I'm going to explain what the bill does, and then if there are questions, we can go over it section by section. But it's the Mississippi Land Bank Act. As you know, we're doing everything we can to create every possible tool for our municipalities to deal with blighted property, especially blighted property that's held at the Secretary of State's office. We gave them several different tools last year, and this is another one. What the bill does is it creates a local accountable tool called the Land Bank to acquire, manage, and return vacant, abandoned, and tax-forfeited properties to productive use and ultimately to the tax rolls. It addresses blight, tax base loss by moving long vacant, abandoned, and tax delinquent properties back into productive use. It has local control. Cities and counties may create a land bank by resolution. Regional land banks can be formed through interlocal cooperation. Public purpose entity focused on property stewardship, not a new regulator. No eminent domain. The act prohibits land banks from using any type of eminent domain. Improves the pipeline for tax forfeited properties by authorizing transfer from the Secretary of State's land register to a land bank for reuse. Clear redevelopment pathways. The land bank may clear title, maintain, demolish, rehabilitate, assemble, and dispose of parcels under locally adopted policies. Partnership Ready supports collaboration with private, nonprofit developers and common redevelopment finance tax credit structures where appropriate. Strong accountability subject to open meetings, public records, and ethics and government requirements, annual reporting, and it's audible. Practical funding model, revenues from sales, leases, fees, and grants, limited time-bound ad valorem tax remittance on land bank conveyed property support operations while neighborhoods stabilize. Limit taxpayer exposure, any bonds or revenue obligations, no automatic state or local general obligations of debt. The bill does not authorize eminent domain. It does not require any city or county to create the land bank. And it does not automatically increase any taxes, and there's no money on this piece of legislation. This piece of legislation was double referred. It went through municipalities and was discussed at length, and I would yield for any questions from the committee.
All right, any questions from the committee on the bill? All right, seeing none for a motion.
Title sufficient, I'm sorry.
Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is Senate Bill number 2828. I want to recognize Senator Hill to explain the bill. And this is a committee sub. We're on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a committee sub. What this bill does, it enables a person who may not be paying income tax or contributing in other ways to pay a fee on money that's being sent out of the country via international wire transfer. This bill is about basic fairness. People who may not be paying tax may be getting paid in cash and then are sending this money out of the state. This would enact a wire transfer fee onto those transactions. The bill sets a fee of $7.50 on each international wire transfer below 500. If the transfer is above 500, there's a fee of 1.5%. If a person pays income taxes in this state, they will get a credit on their state income tax return to get this money back. So if you're doing everything right and you pay this fee, you will get it back on your income tax. How much money are we talking about? In banks alone, it's over $500 million a quarter being sent out in federal wire transfers. With Western Union, I'm told it's about $330 million a quarter. So that's how much money we're talking about. Where does the money go from this fee? Half of it will go to DPS to specifically fund 287G programs that our state has just began participating in with the Attorney General's office, with our auditor's office, and a couple of different law enforcement agencies. So that's where half the money would go, would be able to fund those 287G programs. The other half would go in the general fund. So you might say this is a tax. If you can get it back, it's not a tax. It's a fee. If you're doing everything legal and you file a tax return in this state, you can get the money back. So that's basically what this does. It's been long-standing in Oklahoma since 2017. It's been supported by American First Legal. The Trump administration supports these bills. It's been well established in the courts. And this is a way for Mississippi to collect money on those revenues that are bypassing our legal system of taxation and for us to be able to recoup some of that money. And that's what the bill does.
All right. Is there a question? Senator Blackman for a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Why would these funds not just entirely go into the general fund to fund everything instead of these half of it going to specific things?
Because that's the way we designed the bill.
What was the reason for that?
Because the law enforcement across the state would like to have, be able to obtain grant programs to support their work with Homeland Security and ICE.
Well, with the reduction in the state income tax, would this not be better suited to go to our municipalities?
It could go to municipalities. Any law enforcement agency could apply for a grant through DHS.
Well, I'm not talking about law enforcement. I'm saying, would it not be better suited to go to our municipalities for them to spend generally on their services for their constituents?
They get back 18.5% sales tax now. This is a fee that was designed to work on two separate entities, to provide some for the general fund. If we get a small municipality grant program started, which I know, I think Senator Simmons has, if that goes in the general fund, that would certainly be able to support something like that if this body chose to pass it. That's why we did not put all of it to 287G grants.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Are there any other questions on the bill? On the committee sub? Okay. We'll need a motion to adopt the committee sub. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Senator Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to offer up the following amendment by amending after below line 53. This section shall not apply to any transaction for which the funds being transferred are withdrawn from an account held in or by a federally insured financial institution or funded with a debit card or a credit card issued in the United States. These are transactions that are mostly limited to citizens, and I think we should exempt those from this bill.
All right. You've heard the amendment. Are there any questions on the amendment? All right, seeing none.
Motion is that we adopt the amendment.
On the amendment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Any other discussion or questions on the bill? All right, seeing none, for a motion. Motion is title sufficient to pass committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Bill be referred out. Next on the agenda is Senate Bill 2835. This bill, Senate Bill 2835, a bill that would allow used auto part dealers and scrap metal processors to use DOR's online database or a third-party vendor that meets DOR requirements to verify the absence of liens on vehicles before purchasing them. These third-party vendors have databases that are nearly nationwide. They build the database by subscribing to lien database of each state so that lien status can be verified on vehicles regardless of state in which it was last titled in. The current law requires a used motor vehicle parts dealer to scrap metal processor or scrap metal processor to verify the absence of a lien prior to accepting a vehicle. To verify, they are required to check DOR's online database, the automated statewide motor vehicle registration system. However, DOR's lien database only includes vehicles that are titled in Mississippi. So if a vehicle that was titled in another state is brought in to a used auto parts dealer or scrap processor, which happens in a lot of counties that border our sister states, they are able to verify that there is no lien on that vehicle. And they aren't able to legally purchase it. So this bill would help to change that. And I think the important part is it meets DOR's requirements. So our Department of Revenue can, will verify the third party, that they meet those requirements. So that is the explanation of the bill. Are there any questions on the bill? All right, seeing none for motion. Motion is title sufficient, do pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. That bill will be reported out. Next is Senate Bill 2850. This is a committee sub. Advantage Jobs was was used in the past as a incentive program at MDA, but as we have moved more towards MFlex in recent years, we're trying to wind this program down. The bill brings forward code sections in case MDA wants to make changes to tweak the program for the remaining in the program and potentially sunset it altogether. One of those tweaks in this bill is to streamline the administrative side of the program. Currently, companies have to navigate between MDA and DOR at various points, and that back and forth can lead to some confusion and the company not getting the full 10-year benefit that it was proposed under the program. We just want to make sure the companies that are employing hundreds of people and are paying well over the average rate are able to get the full benefit they are entitled to under the program. This does have a reverse repealer, still working with MDA on some of the language, so it will continue to move forward in additionally sunsetting this incentive program. So that is the explanation of the bill. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none for a motion. Oh, we got to adopt the committee sub first, so. All right, motion, we adopt the committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is title sufficient, do pass committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Next on the agenda is Senate Bill 2863. I'll recognize Senator England to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, Senate Bill 2863, the Bio-Casat Industrial Zone Establishment Act, is pretty clearly laid out in Section 1 what the intent of this bill is to do. It says the intent of the bill is to establish the Bio-Casat Industrial Zone to define its boundaries, to promote economic development, and to exempt the zone from municipal annexation. This is an area located in eastern Jackson County that is really only industrial in character. It's conducive to expansion by current industries there, such as Chevron, Bollinger Shipyards is in this area. It's not an area where you're going to see residential and commercial growth, which is something you would typically see in any annexation issue. And we want to make sure that this area is optimally situated for further industrial expansion and new industrial growth, new jobs for our area, new businesses coming to our area, as well as helping the current folks there, because any increase in ad valorem taxes, of course, will inhibit such growth or could make that less likely to happen. And so that's what we're doing here, is just carving out this area and making this Bio-Casat industrial area not subject to municipal annexation. There's no money transferred in this bill. This is it is a Jackson County specific bill. So just to kind of maybe get ahead of one question here, why are we dealing with a general bill as opposed to a local and private? Anything dealing with annexation issues is going to come forward within a general bill. So that's why we're here in finance with this issue. And it's something that would be very beneficial to our area and to our current industries, as well as hopefully many, many future industries, to look at this area as an attractive place to locate. Yes, Chevron is in the area, Mr. Pro Tem, and is supportive of this bill, actually. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to entertain those at this time.
All right. Are there any questions on the bill? Senator Blunt for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator England. So this just affects the area that you represent and Jackson County, and the people from, the senators from Jackson County are okay with this?
That's correct. And I'm sure Senator Seymour would have signed on. I haven't spoken with him. Senator Bryce Wiggins, who represents this area, is in here as well. It is supported by the senators in my area. And just to mention, if this annexation were to go forward, Chevron and other industries in that area pay as much as 30% of the 2 mills that go towards fire protection and towards waste. So if that were to happen, you would see areas, the citizens that I represent, Senator Wiggins represents, Senator Seymour represents, in the unincorporated areas of Jackson County would see an increase on those services if this were to happen. So this is also saving them that tax burden.
Well, if this just affects your area and your people are for it, that's enough for me.
Thank you very much, Senator Blunt. I appreciate your support on this.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, for a motion.
Title sufficient, do pass.
Motion is title sufficient to pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Senator Wiggins, I'm gonna recognize you to, we're gonna skip down to Senate Bill 2862. Recognize you to explain the bill, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's the same, dealing with the same issue that Senator England brought up, bringing code sections forward with, that relate to the annexation. There are, to Senator England's point, there's a fair amount of negotiation / talking going on. And so this provides that opportunity, if and when that comes to fruition and agreement. There is no new language in it. It's bringing the code sections forward to allow that to be handled, and it deals with the boundaries of a city or municipality. And there's no money in the bill.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna recognize Senator McMahon for a point of clarification on the bill real quick.
I just wanted to raise a point of order. This bill was double referred and it went through municipalities. The bill before you does not include the reverse repealer that was included. So we're actually on the proposed committee sub, which includes a reverse repealer. So the bill, to reiterate what my colleague had stated, the bill does not do anything. It only brings forward code sections with a reverse repealer.
Okay, so we actually have a committee sub that they added a reverse repealer in committee and it came to us. So,
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the chairman and this chairman and that chairman and working with us on these things.
okay, thank you. Are there any questions on the committee sub? All right, for a motion to adopt the committee sub. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Any further discussion? Motion is title sufficient to pass committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator. Next is Senate Bill 2909. I recognize Senator Sparks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's a committee sub in your packet. That's what I'll be describing. This addresses the years of service for unreduced retirement in Tier 5 that is to begin on March 1st, 2026. Very briefly, and I think you've heard me say this repeatedly, the PERS board recommended a Tier 5 for the last couple of years, and the Tier 5 they recommended last year would have included the provision that retirement would begin no earlier than age 62. There was no term of years in the bill. The two changes that the Senate made to the Tier 5 recommendation from the PERS board was that we reinstituted military service credit and we put in a term of 35 years, which both of those were employee-friendly additions to the Tier 5 as recommended by the board. The 35 years kind of became the top line issue. There was a lot of discussion about the fact that it was a 5-year increase. We heard from our first responder community particularly, but we also heard from across the board the issue with 35 years. So numerous conversations have been had with the actuaries and with PERS board members as well as employers. This bill would do one simple thing. It would lower from 35 to 30 the number of years required to have an unreduced retirement. And I want to be very clear what unreduced means. It means at any age. If you have given the state 30 years of service, whether you started at 18 and you would be 48 years of age, you would be eligible for starting your retirement without any reduction. If you have 8 or more years of service, you're vested in the system, and you reach age 62 or 65, you can certainly retire, and at 65 unreduced with less than 30 years, whatever number you have. But this became a major focal point. There is a cost to it. The actuaries have reported to me that it's 0.57%. That may sound low, but that ultimately, based on the $7.4 billion payroll that we currently have, would be about $44 million a year. But this really seemed to be the most common topic that has come up since Tier 5 has been passed. And since it has not yet been instituted, this bill, this committee sub, would lower that threshold from 35 to 30. The information that we've been given this year, we did not have last year. I'll be honest with you, if I had had the information they have subsequently provided, we probably would have done this in the original draft. But that is what this does. It lowers the term of years for unreduced at any age to begin your retirement drawing down to 30 years from 35. And with that, I would yield for any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions? Senator Blunt for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the purpose of this bill and the code section is in this bill is making changes to the current Tier 5. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Well, if you want to call it current Tier 5, there technically isn't a current Tier 5. That would be March 1st of 2026. So it would not be any issue for the PERS staff or anyone else, nor would it disenfranchise anybody or change any rules that anybody was currently operating under, because there is yet to be a Tier 5 employee hired in the state of Mississippi.
It amends the current law to make changes to the Tier 5 that is currently in the law.
It amends Section 2511, 111 by changing the number 35 to 30. That's correct.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, for a motion.
Motion is to adopt the committee sub, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion, we adopt the committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Title sufficient do pass committee sub, Mr. Chairman.
Motion is title sufficient to pass committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Look there. All right. That bill will be reported out. Next is Senate Bill number 2885. I recognize Senator Michelle to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This legislation, you might recall from last year, is the Mississippi Work and Save program. It will make saving for retirement simple for thousands of Mississippians. We passed it overwhelmingly on the Senate floor last year, 51-0. Where state employees, federal employees, and employees of medium-sized to large companies have many different options for their savings for retirement. This is not necessarily the case for many of your constituents back in your district, your small town accounting firm, your insurance agent's office, your real estate firm, dental practice, medical practice, small law firm, your restaurants, your retail sales stores in your district. Many of them simply cannot afford to put together a retirement plan. This plan would be supported by the state treasurer. I've put a letter on your desk for you that showing the treasurer's support. It's very easy to set this plan up because the treasurer currently has a program very similar to this in our Mississippi Affordable College Savings Plan. Any of you who participate in the state deferred comp plan, you'll see the likenesses of this plan to that. Many small businesses will be able to help their employees save and invest in an IRA and supplement Social Security. The employer would also allow their employees to voluntarily decide to participate. When this language came to me, it had some language in it that I considered some mandates. I have gone in here in 5 different locations, put the word voluntary to make it clear that it's voluntary for both the employer and the employee. The Treasurer's office would set up the investment company opportunities. The IRAs would be owned by the individuals. All investment decisions would be made by the individuals. They would be limited to some very simple investment opportunities like S&P 500 investment fund or index funds like that might be life cycle funds, which we also refer to target date funds. These funds exist in our deferred comp plan. The account is very portable and individuals in this can make rollovers from tax-free rollovers to other IRAs. I mentioned that we amended it to make it voluntarily. We also deleted the 9-member oversight board that was originally in the plan. It didn't seem necessary because the Treasurer's Office is running this program for Mississippi Affordable College Savings right now. Why are we proposing this legislation? Because many Mississippians graduate high school and trade school or college school and have no idea what an individual retirement account is. They hope Social Security is going to still be around for them. And we have indications that that might be having its own problems in the next 7 to 8 years. In Mississippi, the average Social Security payment is just $1,600 per month. It's estimated that Mississippi small businesses of 10 or fewer employers, over 80% of them lack a plan. But if their company has a plan, Americans are 15 times more likely to save. In comparison, just to let you know how blessed we are as state employees, we have PERS and we also have deferred comp. And so this would give an opportunity for the small business owner to offer this plan that's professionally run that their employees can invest in. And statistics show, and if employee, even if it's just $25 a month when they start out at age 22, 23, if they start out with just a small amount, that as they make more money later in life, they understand the tax advantages of IRAs and they will continue to do it. And it's with time on your side and the advantages of compounding, it's very lucrative. It'd be very easy for someone to easily have $100,000 when they reach the age of 60 versus penniless, like we have many Mississippians who right now are living from paycheck to paycheck. I'll be glad to yield any questions.
Thank you, Senator. Are there any questions on the bill? Senator Sparks for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senator Michelle. Just want to be very, very clear. This is a program through the treasurer. This is a voluntary program and it has absolutely nothing to do with PERS, would not impact PERS in any financial magnitude and is completely separate and apart.
That is correct. As I said, I went out of my way to use the term voluntary and voluntarily. It's listed on line 64, 80, 356, 360, and 361.
Thank you.
Voluntary for the employer, voluntary for the employee as well. Employee is not mandated to participate in the plan, and it's not a mandate on any employer to require anybody to participate in the plan. And there's no state funding in it. The plan is portable. The IRA belongs to the individual, and if an individual changes jobs, the IRA is very, very portable.
All right. Any further questions?
No
Seeing-
title sufficient, do pass, Mr. Chairman. Go ahead.
All right, you heard the motions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I'm on it now.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next is Senate Bill 2874. Recognize Senator McMahon to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill, when it was originally written, it was written to address the issue across the state and across the nation where the United States government is eliminating the penny. So the bill would have allowed government agencies and government entities within the state of Mississippi to round to the nearest dime. And so the reason I chose the dime was because I think they're going to abolish the nickel as well. But anyway, the bill, we already have a vehicle for this. So basically, I'm going to explain the conceptual. It will be a strike all. Everything dealing with the cents will be struck from the bill. And the bill, instead of being 35 pages, will actually be 2 pages long. And I ask you to turn your attention to line 56. So we'll be discussing particularly line 56 through 84. As you know, the state of Mississippi, we have our own, we have a state song, we have a state flag, we have a state fruit, we have a state bird. And what this is, I met with the treasurer. I thought it would be cool if we had an opportunity to mint our own gold or silver commemorative coins. And currently you can go downstairs to the gift shop and they've got coins down there that are for $5, but these coins basically have no real value. But this bill would allow for the treasurer it's no money in this bill. There's nothing in here requiring him to do it, but he may, and he's excited about this opportunity to mint gold and silver coins and for the state of Mississippi. And the coins would be done in the highest quality, just like an American Eagle or a Silver Eagle. I believe they will become very sought after and become family heirlooms. So just quickly, we'll go through this bill starting in 56. The state treasurer will be authorized to enter into contractual agreement with a public or private company for the purposes of minting a 1 ounce gold state commemorative coin or 1 ounce silver coin. Each coin shall be minted in accordance with the standards of those for an American Gold Eagle or American Silver Eagle. It's line 64, we start with the design. The design of each coin shall include the word State of Mississippi, the phrase In God We Trust, the year in which the coin was minted. On one side, the Great Seal of the state of Mississippi, and on the reverse side, it shall feature a magnolia flower. No monetary value shall be stated on the coin. The coin shall not feature any image of any human being or groups of human beings. The state treasurer is authorized to take pre-orders and accept payment on these commemorative coins. The coin shall be minted in the finest and highest quality standards. The coin shall not be sold below cost, plus the metal or any associated cost fees. Profits from the coins shall be deposited in the state general fund. The treasurer's office may keep 20% of the profits for administration and other costs. The state treasurer is authorized to oversee the minting process and enter into the necessary agreements to produce and distribute the commemorative coins. And that's what the bill would do. I yield for any questions.
Okay, so you're essentially going to have an amendment to strip out all the other language.
Correct.
Conceptual amendment to strip out any reference to the dime. Is that? Okay.
Correct.
So you propose that amendment?
Yes, I propose the amendment. They'll basically be just the title left, and it'll basically strip everything else out of the bill except the commemorative gold and silver coins. And I have some examples of some coins if you'd ever like to see any of these. I have here some American coins from 1853. I have some coins from the 1900s, as well as some solid gold coins that were struck during the early century, 20th century. So,
All right. I think Senator Bryan has a question.
Sure.
Did I understand the amendment to strike everything from the bill dealing with cents?
You would be correct again. Thank you, Senator Bryan.
Well played, Senator Bryan.
Any other questions on the amendment? All right. You move to adopt the amendment.
Move for adoption of the amendment.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Senator Johnson for a question.
Couple of questions.
Sure.
First one is, can we make sure we have a say in whose likeness gets put on this coin?
Well, there'll be the bill specifically says no human image or images of any human being.
Fair enough.
The bill says, but I gave a lot of thought to this. You know, this will be something that,
Well, I was only kidding. I do have a
Okay.
serious question though.
would you like your image, or is are you offering a to have your image placed on the coin?
No, I don't want mine on there. Okay, I do have a question though. I've seen just in the last couple of weeks, the volatility of gold prices. And, you know, we talked about it in another
Yes.
committee recently as well. What is the plan, I assume by the treasurer's office, to mitigate the state's risk or liability to a fluctuation in gold prices? And then when we talk about 20% of the profits, how do these get priced with the price of gold? So I don't know what size that would be, but generally you see a small 1 ounce of
Mhm.
gold, and gold is, last I heard, around $5,000.
That's correct.
And so, but with that fluctuation, how does the state mitigate its risk on exposure to falling prices? And also, how do we price those where there's a profit made to cover those costs so that the state is not out for even the production of?
So there's no money in this bill. The taxpayer's putting no money forward to, the treasurer may enter into an agreement with a public or private entity. There are private minting companies as well. But the bill does say he can't sell it below cost. So whatever the cost is, he can decide what the profit will be. He can take pre-orders. And I think there'll be a good bit of demand for this. If he says, hey, I'm going to have 1,000 coins struck and I'm going to take pre-orders, I think a lot of people will pay that. And he'll have to clearly mark it up. You know, the U.S. Mint marks it up significantly higher than spot.
And that's something I would like to dig in a little deeper with you and maybe
Sure.
not right now in the meeting. And if you're not opposed to it, I'd love to put a reverse repealer so we can continue to work on that. Because I do think, you know, if we do contract to do 1,000
Or
coins
whatever
up
that
front,
number may be.
there is a cost to that and a liability from a price change of
Yes, sir.
that gold. And so, you know, I don't know if it's best to do them on a pre-order and do them incrementally based on that or what, but I'd like to explore that more before we finalize the bill.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Senator. This is a very positive piece of this is a
Yep.
very positive piece of legislation that could promote the very best of our state.
Yes.
And I want everyone to have some input if the will of this committee is to accept this.
Okay, thank you. Then I'd like to make a motion to add a reverse repealer to the bill.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions on the amendment? Seeing none, move adoption of the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? For clarification, want to make sure that the council is wanting to clarify that it's going to strike out the reference to common sense in the title of the bill.
Correct.
Senator Brian will. All right, full motion.
As amended.
Yeah, title sufficient to pass it, committee sub. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? All right, the ayes have it. That bill will be reported out. Last bill is Senate Bill 2848. This is a bill that has a couple of different players involved in this issue here, but I'll give you kind of a summary of the bill. The summary, it reforms the notification that towing companies are required to give owners and lien holders by requiring they be sent by a third-party vendor using certified mail. It shortens the timeframes that towing companies have to send the notification to owners and lien holders. It ensures the notifications to owners and lien holders will transmit the information required by the Department of Revenue. For worthless vehicles, it provides a method whereby a lien can be removed by Department of Revenue following the required notifications. Does not change or remove public notice requirements. And my information, I've been told that it is supported by the bankers, the towing association, and recyclers, and the Department of Revenue. I've not been told anything different. Speak now, forever hold your peace. If those are out there that have issues with this, as we discuss this, but you know, you can see through the bill, line 35, I think is where it shortens it from 5 days to 2 days. Requires using a third-party vendor that meets the requirements of the department. And it requires them to notify them by certified mail instead of registered mail. So this is just tightening up the requirements on the notification. So that is an explanation of the bill. Are there any questions on the bill? Senator Berry for a question.
So currently, they don't have to use a third-party vendor to notify them?
No, they do not.
So we're requiring them to use a third-party vendor versus sending certified mail themselves?
Yes.
Thank you.
And the towers, my understanding, the towers support the bill. Any other questions? Senator Sparks for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The language on, I think, lines 104 through 106 address the department removing outstanding liens from the vehicle. And I understand maybe worthless was the term that was used, but I just would like to have discussion maybe after the committee meeting that we don't you know, I don't want to be in a position where the department is wiping liens off on vehicles, because the vehicle got towed and abandoned, because, you know, that lien would still exist. So I just would love to have that discussion maybe after committee. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions on the bill? Seeing none for a motion? Motion is title sufficient, do pass. No, yeah, motion title sufficient, do pass. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? All right, that bill will be reported out. Motion to rise and report. Need to add a reverse repealer on the floor. I forgot to add a reverse repealer. Yeah, I'll add it on the floor.
Free now, free to go. I don't have to go.
Yeah.
All right, needs protect, one of y'all. Who's call?